2:00. So we'll just go ahead and bring her on. It's Savage time as per usual. What's up, Gillian? How you doing?
What's up? How are you today?
I'm good. I'm trying to channel my inner Dave when I introduce people, and it's just not the same. I'm just not Dave.
Yeah, no, he's got something special when it comes to those intros.
Some of them are a little off the wall, but they always get the job done. Always
hit.
What is new this week in the world of Gillian Robertson?
I wish I could tell you something. I don't have anything. I wish I had fight news. That's all. Still just sitting here waiting. I've gotten a possible date, no opponent's name. They've thrown like that they're looking for me on a certain date. So fingers crossed that everything comes through on that. But yeah, so I'm just sitting here waiting. A lot of waiting.
I feel that. I'm waiting. Grant's waiting. You're waiting. We're all waiting. They've offered Grant dates too, but no people. So that seems to be, don't feel bad. I think it's everybody right now. There's actually not a single, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm quite sure that there is not a single booked fight in the top 15 for 155.
Oh yeah, I saw that like a meme about that the other day. And like,
doesn't have an opponent. Nobody has opponents.
The most stacked division in the UFC for men, and nobody's matched in the top 15. Like, what are we doing here?
That begs the question too. Why can't Grant get a fight if nobody else is booked either? What are we doing, guys? So hopefully that means that everybody's about to get fights. That hopefully means that everybody at the UFC is hard at work and they're matching people up, and there's going to be like 50 fight announcements over the next couple weeks.
I think there's a lot in the works.
I'm hopeful. So you got to say everyone's name wrong if you want to channel your energy. That's true. I gotta mix up some syllables here, but yeah, I'm hopeful that everybody will have fight news soon, including myself. I would love that too. For me, would love that journey. But I was kind of getting through the UFC 318 prelims, is what I was doing, kind of in between Cam and Pantoja, and we didn't get to talk about it on Sunday. So I definitely want your take. Like, let's not even get into the prelims yet, but let's just break down the moment of the weekend, which we all know was Dustin Poirier. Had this huge moment, the ultimate UFC send-off. I think, like, it was really beautiful. The montages, the video messages from his family. I was tearing up. Even if you were a grown man, you should have shed a tear for Dustin Poirier's retirement. Just your overall impression of the weekend and Dustin Poirier's last dance.
I think it's more deserved than anybody else. You know, he his quote, paid in full. It has 100%. He puts in so much hard work, time, years, brain cells of like just these wars that he's down to have that have been amazing. Like, every time Dustin is on a card, you know it's gonna be a banger of a fight. You know it's gonna be a great card. So it's just it's like, it is a sad moment to see. I literally, it doesn't matter what fighter it is. The second they take their gloves off, I always get tears in my eyes, because I can only imagine that moment for myself, and that changing of that. You're not going to be a professional athlete anymore. And that has just been so much a huge part of your identity for the last 20 plus years. And it's like, I can't imagine what that moment is to go through, but it was such a beautiful moment for Dustin, and this kind of send-off he deserved more than anybody else.
No, I absolutely agree. And I haven't heard anybody disagree, which is very rare within the MMA community. Like, does Dustin even have haters? I'm sure they're out there somewhere, but they've got to be the craziest people on planet Earth. Like, he's a great husband, great father. I saw somewhere that he has donated over $1 million to charities, and his net worth is less than $6 million. So the dude has literally donated a sixth of what he is worth to help other people. Like, how do you not love that guy?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm like, it was, and I want to say props to Max too for how he handled it. Just like took a second to be like, all right, I won. Now this is Dustin's moment. I was like, another absolutely great guy. Seems like a great dad, great husband, everything as a whole. I'm like, both of them just complete class acts as human beings and as athletes.
No, 100%. Oh my God. When the day comes that Max Holloway retires, that's going to be so sad too. Like my like saddest moments of watching people retire, I think were Korean Zombie and Dustin Poirier. And I think Max is going to be right up there too.
I feel like the Korean Zombie one was just absolutely iconic. Whenever they played the song in the background and the whole crowd started singing it, like there's few moments that match that retirement as well. I'm like, just to channel my inner Dave now though, and throw a question at you on the spot that you're not prepared for. Who else do you think deserves that kind of retirement treatment?
It has to be somebody that just like withstands the test of time. Like I saw a lot of people get upset about like Dominic Cruz not getting a proper send-off. And I'll agree that he didn't get a proper send-off. Like it was kind of weird that he got more or he got less than like Anthony Smith. But I don't think that Dominic Cruz deserves, I don't want to say deserves, because I love Dominic Cruz. I'm a big fan of him, but I don't know that he reached, even though he was a champion, I don't know that he reached that level of like just immortalization in the MMA community that guys like Max and Dustin have. I feel like absolutely Max Holloway deserves that kind of retirement. Izzy is a good example of that. I feel like, but it's so weird too, because I feel like he's lost so much attention. Like people just don't pay attention to Izzy anymore. And it's kind of sad. I feel like the same thing kind of happened to like Usman, where Usman just got like written off as soon as he lost the belt, even though he was so dominant for so long. I feel like we see that happen to so many great fighters. And in the moment, we think like, oh, these guys are going to withstand the test of time. And then they just don't. I think it takes such a special fighter to, even when Dustin has lost, it's never devalued his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Even when Max Holloway lost 3 fights in a trilogy, it never devalued his legacy. There's so few fighters that I think can accomplish that. And they have to be very special people as well as very special fighters. And to be honest, I can't even think of, other than Max Holloway, of this generation of fighters, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that I think right now is going to be in that position, even after they've lost several fights. I think Jim Miller deserves a really solid send-off.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree with that. But I don't know if he would deserve the same. Yeah. Not that level, like where it's in his hometown. Like the event was completely centered around Poirier. Like that's a huge, I don't know if I've ever seen that before in the UFC where like for someone's retirement fight, they did everything for, like I said, in his hometown. Like the event was for him.
Yeah. This is true. Like, I do think Dominic Cruz would have had a better send-off had he been able to fight. I 100% agree. And I do think they were trying to do that for him for that retirement fight. But I honestly don't know if it would have been, like you said, quite as built out as Poirier's was. And I fully expect them, if they do not do a pay-per-view in Honolulu, Hawaii, for Max Holloway, I will be disappointed, because that's absolutely what they should do. And somebody brought up Pereira in the comment section. If he stays a really long time, sure. But I think the issue is Pereira came to the UFC pretty late because he had such a long kickboxing career. Like he's not a spring chicken. I think the reason why we have such an attachment to this generation of fighters with Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier was in the WEC. We've been watching him fight since he was a kid, practically. Max Holloway, the same. Like, he got into the UFC so young. These guys have given decades to this sport. And it's so different because now people don't fight as long now. They didn't get in as early then, as they did then. And so I think we may lose this. We may not have a fighter that reaches this kind of immortalization for a while, to be honest.
You don't think, obviously this will be in a while, but you don't think someone like a Joshua Van would develop that kind of?
Yeah, absolutely has the potential to like really have, because he's had these wars already. He's only 23 years old, so I expect him to have a very long career. But I think that's almost a rarity now for somebody to get in that young and to be ready. Because we do see a lot of fighters that get in very young and maybe win one, lose one, win one, lose one, and then they kind of like get their footing and they don't get that same, I think the word Elle is looking for is less boring fighter. It's not an issue. Okay, maybe it is an issue of fighting style. Maybe it is. Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway are two of the most exciting fighters ever. Like you said, anytime Dustin Poirier is in the cage, you know you're going to see a show. And the same is true for Max Holloway. Charles Oliveira is one that could be in that conversation. He's been around a really long time. I think it would depend how the rest, like how the tail end of his career went. You know?
I think it's more than just how they perform, though. I think it's all around how they're loved. They're just fan favorites. And I think that's a huge part of it, is why Poirier deserved it so much, or a Max Holloway, or even why I could put Charles in that boat, is they're all really just fan favorites.
And just great people. And like, I agree, like the reason, if we're talking about the best fighters of all time, Conor McGregor and Jon Jones and the biggest superstars, they should be in the conversation, but they're not, like, they're just such controversial figures. I feel like it's just so different, you know?
Well, and Conor's retired 7 times, and Jon Jones retired for 2 weeks, then came out of retirement. So can we take them seriously?
We're tired of it. We're in Jones McGregor fatigue. Is like, that's like the phrase now. Everybody's like fatigue. We're just over it, you know, as the fan base. And like the fact that the fan base put together a very large petition to strip the greatest MMA fighter of all time of his belt shows just how tired of it all the fans are. I think Amanda got a pretty awesome send-off, right? It wasn't Dustin Poirier level, but they did do like a lot for her. I feel like in that moment, they did like a really cool video and stuff like that. And they did some. Did she get a Hall of Fame induction?
She did, but it wasn't in that moment. It was at a later date.
Maybe I'm combining those two moments in my brain. But I know they did like a pretty big thing for, maybe it was at the Hall of Fame induction when they did that. But I know they did do something for her. And yeah, if she came back, won her belt back, I do think that's a crazy one. It's not going to happen. But I'm just
like, how many times do you deserve the retirement thing? Because like I just said with the Conor and Jon, Amanda's on a pedestal to me more than any fighter in the world. But I'm like, she's already had her moment in her retirement. I get it. She's coming back out, but we don't need to do it more than once, I don't think.
I think that's fair. Yeah. And I also think it has to do with the division. Women's bantamweight is not the deepest division. It never was. Women's 145 couldn't even have rankings because they had so few fighters. And so it's like, I think it also has to do with the divisions Max Holloway and the people that Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway fought. If you look at just the lineup of Dustin's career, it's
both of their resumes.
Both of them. Yeah. Max Holloway's debut was against Dustin Poirier in the UFC. Like they both just, the resume is outstanding. And they, like you said, like they're just good all around people. CM Punk deserved a grand retirement.
Gotta throw what is it? Forgetting his name now. The guy that CM Punk beat, Mike something. I'm completely blanking, but we got to throw him in there too.
Exactly. Yeah, the tall, like black dude. What's his name?
That has one win by eye poke.
So bad. Oh my gosh. Or no, he beat CM Punk. They brought him in to lose to CM Punk, and that didn't even work out. Maybe Robert Whittaker in Australia. I could, if they did like a big Aussie card
or a Volk in Australia, I could see that one.
Volk deserves a great send off when he reaches that point. Yeah, Mike Johnson. Thank you.
Johnson, yeah.
You know, that guy deserves a great send off. Volk obviously does, and I think he'll get that moment. And I expect him to keep fighting for a while. And I feel like when he's ready to retire, especially if he still has the belt, like that's going to be pretty iconic too. You know, like lost the belt, won it back, defended it several times before and after. If he manages to do that. And then to top it off, like all the epic fights with Max Holloway, I feel like Volk deserves that 100%. That might be, other than Max and Volk, might be my only, like, maybe Whitaker might be my only. But I feel like I love Whitaker. I'm a huge Robert Whitaker fan. I just don't know, is he as big and beloved as Dustin and Max?
He's not in that same boat as them for me.
I don't know that he is. It takes a really special fighter and a really special human being. So I was really sad to see him retire, but I know like you can just tell like it's time for him. He wants to be home with his daughter, and there's nothing more.
The best that ever belt.
Yeah, like, oh, that was so cute. The BD.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just heartwarming, you know. And Valentina, yeah.
Yeah.
She's really fight guys, but it's different. We're not fighters.
Yeah, she's just not a fan favorite the way that those boys are.
Like we're talking about every time you tune, like anytime this person's on a card, you're like, I cannot wait to see this fight. Like, when was the last time we said that about a Valentina fight?
I'm like, on the women's side, the girl, she's already retired, but what sticks out to me, I'm like, Joanna would deserve something like that.
No, Joanna, and I feel like Joanna had a pretty solid send-off too. And she had her Hall of Fame induction and whatnot. Like, but yeah, that's different. Like, I feel like different styles, you know? Maybe it is an issue of fighting style. Maybe that's what it is. I feel like it's we saw Joanna. She always came out, had these amazing fights with Jessica Andrade. I feel like their was it their first or second fight? I think it's their second fight. It's one of my favorite fights to watch. There's a point where Jessica Andrade throws a low kick. Joanna literally jumps over it, and while both feet are still in the air, kicks Jessica Andrade in the face. And I'm like, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, she had this aura about her, you know. And she's a fantastic human being too. So I feel like, yeah, maybe she's in that conversation, but it's rare. It's so rare. So, but we've spent way too long talking about this. It's been like 15 minutes we've been on this subject. We should definitely go back to UFC 318. We talked about Dustin. We talked about the moment. To be honest with you, main card, it delivered. It delivered, but these prelims were just killer.
Early prelims.
Oh my God.
I think it was like 5 or 6 in a row, all finishes, like fast fights. Carly Judice started off the card looking absolutely phenomenal.
I'm so impressed with her range control. Like, the sharpness in her striking.
Oh, yeah, and you could see that Cavallari was trying to close the distance a lot, very fast on her. And she was just able to keep her out of range, handle her takedowns, and I feel like that was a good approach for someone like Judice. Try to like make it ugly, close the distance, you know, try to get that fight so it's not at her range. But Carly was ready for everything, and like you said, just keeps her at the end of her punches just perfectly every time.
She's just so sharp, like so sharp with everything. And I feel like that's what makes it crispy, right? But with that, like, I love that the style that has kind of come out of Lafayette, Louisiana. You know, we love Dustin Poirier. We love how he fights, and I feel like she also has this sort of reckless abandon for the way she fights, and it got her in trouble in her first 2 UFC fights. She took a couple close losses, and I feel like that, like, she just seemed so much more calculated. Like, she's finding her flow, and she only has 6 professional fights now. So she's finding her flow, and she's really starting to be a lot sharper with it. And I really enjoy watching her. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say she's become like, between her last fight and this one, I guess is when I really started to notice her. And obviously she doesn't have a lot of fights in general, but I'm like, she really is something special. And I feel like we're gonna see her come up quick in the 125 division.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I'm really excited to see who they give her next. Do you have a matchup for her in mind?
I don't know. I think she might deserve somebody maybe like ranked, but not like 15, you know? She's coming off of 2 knockouts now. I wouldn't mind seeing her. I'm not sure how the divisions are lined up, but I'm like somebody who's like between 10 and 15, lower on the rankings.
Right. Well, I would if my thing decided to pull up, but I keep seeing this take. I didn't think Dustin versus Max was fight of the night.
I didn't think Vettori versus Allen was fight of the night.
I didn't think so either. I thought it should have been D-Rod and Kevin Holland.
I think everybody was in that boat. The D-Rod and Kevin Holland was easily the most exciting fight. Dustin and Max, I would have given second most. I think they're next to
that second round was the best round of the card. I will say that.
And then I'm like, how did Vettori and Allen end up getting it?
It was definitely Vettori's just like willingness to swing and just not give a darn. Like I can understand that. But oh yeah, this fight was good too. Francisco Prado's fight was a really good fight too. But it's I don't know. I feel like I would have given it to Dustin and Max over Brendan and Marvin, but not. I think Kevin Holland and D-Rod got screwed here. I think that was the most exciting fight personally.
Oh yeah, just an absolute war from start to finish from both guys.
Yeah, and it was just chaotic.
Yeah, exactly. And you could tell in like the end of the third round, they were both so gassed, but just kept on moving. Like it was like slow paced almost, but I'm like, they were still scrambling when they had absolutely nothing left in them.
Right. No, it was crazy. And honestly, I enjoy those fights. Like it's like I'm tired just watching it sitting on my couch. So I know you guys are tired, but okay, I think it's finally working. Maybe I can pull up the flyweight rankings. No, I cannot because I somehow have no signal. But our stream is working. I don't know how that works. But anywho, yeah, let's continue down the card. So I'm super pumped about Ryan Spann at heavyweight. I'm never pumped about heavyweight. You know this. That it never happens for me. But I feel like Ryan Spann is what the heavyweight division needs. Like there are not a lot of good grapplers at heavyweight, and I feel like just this is a great place for him to be. 205, he's kind of been up and down, but if he can take everybody down at heavyweight, he might be the man to beat Tom Aspinall. I'm not looking at a win over Lucas Brescu, I think is like 9-7 overall, and going, Ryan Spann's the guy. But I am definitely excited to see him at heavyweight, where I feel like big guys that are long and have great grappling tend to do really well.
Oh yeah, no, I think we've seen it a lot from Walter Walker, his last couple of fights. I'm like, he's made it almost look effortless when he's taking these guys to ground. Again, Ryan Spann, I feel like there's a reason why Derek Lewis just gets up in his fights. It's because typically heavyweights aren't great at just controlling people on the ground.
I don't think you can physically. Like, how do you throw hooks on somebody that's that wide? Unless you have crazy long legs.
I feel like a lot of them just rely on strength and power. I always said it for me. I'm like, it was such a benefit for me when I was growing up learning jiu-jitsu because I was like walking 115 pounds and I didn't have the option to muscle anybody ever because I was getting smashed by everybody unless I used proper technique. So I'm like, it forces you to use proper technique when you're a tiny person. But when you're 260 pounds walking in there, you don't necessarily ever really have to learn technique. And it becomes a deficit to a lot of these guys, I feel like, because they're just like, oh, I'm just going to get up and power my way out of this. But when you do see somebody who is more capable in grappling, more able to, or like Ryan Spann looked this weekend, I'm like, whenever you are able to control on the ground more as a heavyweight, then you can see guys don't just get up. And like, it doesn't happen like that just because I'm like, I just feel like it is such a huge deficit of the heavyweight division.
100%. And I get it. I think wrestling when you're that big is really hard. It's super hard. And these guys are huge. And like, if you get sprawled on by somebody that's 250, 260, I imagine that would suck a lot, even if you are also 250, 260. But Ryan Spann versus, you brought up Walter, like that's the fight to make right now. That's what I want to see. I want to see that grappling exchange. And hey, Yasser, you make a good point. I agree. Ryan Spann does not have the best cardio. So we got to see if they can match him up. If he can sub people in the first round, it won't matter so much. I could absolutely see him getting like against a guy like Walter. Maybe he can't get him out of there early. Maybe we see him slow down. But Derek Lewis should get a special sending off. Okay, I'm down. I'm on board for that.
That would be the most unique send off.
Do you think he just takes his pants all the way off? Like, well, I'm never coming back here. So I could definitely see him doing something like that.
I don't know. Even like when like his last fight, he mooned the crowd. Everybody cheers about it and loves it. And I'm like, why are we getting so excited over seeing this man's butt?
No one else can get away with that either.
Exactly.
Like, a single other fighter could do that and not get fined or fired or at least in really big trouble. But Derek Lewis I don't know. It works for him. It works. The dude's nuts. Spann, honestly, he looks a little softer at heavyweight, but he still looks big enough. You know, he definitely doesn't look small for heavyweight. I will say that. So I want them to give him Walter, who, by the way, should be ranked. You know, that dude is like 3-0 in the UFC and is unranked. And Rizvan Kuniev is 0-1 in the UFC and is ranked 15. Make that make sense to me. What is going on in the heavyweight division?
Well, just in general, I'll never understand the rankings, period. So I'm not going to make comments on that.
But maybe we can get maybe Walter's poor self can get ranked if he beats Ryan Spann. Who knows? But Spann versus Volkov, that's a little bit of a jump. Maybe down the road. But I definitely think him and Walker is the fight to make right now. That's what I want to see next. But I was happy to see Jimmy Crute back. I really like him. I always was a fan of his. I always felt like he kind of got like, I thought he had some really good momentum going, and then he got hurt in the Anthony Smith fight, which, by the way, still took Anthony Smith down on like literally one leg like 3 times, even with his like nerve totally shut off in his ankle. So I was always a fan of Jimmy Crute. I feel like I like his style. You know, I love the grapplers. So no complaints here on that. But I'm excited to see him back. I feel like he kind of halfway retired too, and he's still young in his career and still really talented. So, and Prochnio, I feel like he's not a scrub. So it was a great win for him, and I'm interested to see who they give him next at 205 as well.
Okay, they made a comment that they said that he retired, I think 2 years ago because he was too obsessed with the sport, is what they said on the broadcast. I'm like, how does this happen?
Yeah, I don't really understand that. I'm sure he had something personal going on with that, but I'm happy to see him back. I really like him. Why can I not pull up these rankings? I'm just gonna do it on my phone. I just want to know who was ranked at light heavyweight. It shouldn't be that hard.
We had the 2 other finishes that were on the early prelims. The Bruno Ferreira, which was, I feel like a little bit of a weird performance from Jason McVeigh.
Yeah, that's fair. He's an odd. Yes, this is why I like Jimmy Crute. It's because he has an Earth Kingdom tattoo that's my favorite show, is Avatar: The Last Airbender. That definitely contributes to why I like Jimmy Crute. But it's not the only reason. I also like his grappling. But I like him. I actually was really hoping he would win. Our buddy knows him. And when he gets on the mic after he wins, he does a really great Trump impression. And so I was really hoping to, Grant was telling me about it. I was really hoping to hear his post-fight speech, but it unfortunately didn't happen for him. I know he was a short notice replacement. So I like to give those guys some grace till we see them a second time in the UFC. He's definitely got an odd style. I will agree. And like just the choice he made at the end of the fight that resulted in him getting basically fireman carried over and then ending up in the armbar. It was just a weird decision, you know?
Even just right before it, he got leg kicked and kind of like showed that it hurt him. Like made a face, was like I don't know, visually showed that the leg kick affected him. I'm like, we're not supposed to do that, you know? Like,
maybe it was a really hard leg kick, but yeah, no, it was a little odd. I will agree.
Yeah. And then, I feel like it was right after that leg kick, he just kind of jumped on his back, it seemed like he was just too excited, or maybe the leg kick was damaging and he just wanted to close the distance really fast. And yeah, Just kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. Well, apparently I can look at everything on the UFC side except the rankings, so I'm giving up. Um, we'll go back to the card. But I feel like that was kind of the story of the early prelims. Islam Dulatov is a Contender Series guy. He actually trains here at ATT as well. But he had a great knockout against Adam Fugit. I'm interested to see what they do with him next.
Got a modeling job on Monday, he said.
Bizarre. Yeah, he was like a Versace model or something.
Yeah.
He's tall. He's like a really tall, like gangly dude.
Just very aggressive, very explosive when he's fighting.
Yeah, no, he is. He is. I'm interested to see how they match him up. If they match him up with other strikers, if they do try to match him up with a grappler, and how he does, because I do think he's primarily a striker. I honestly there's so many guys there. I don't know what he looks like training, to be honest with you. But yeah, super explosive and exciting striker. You know what fight we didn't talk about at all on Sunday that I can't believe we forgot about was Vicinius Oliveira and Kyler Phillips. That fight was unbelievable.
Oh yeah, I think Oliveira is always someone who really impressed me since his first fight in the UFC, because I think no matter how like tired he is, whatever is going on, he's always dangerous. He always has that like one punch knockout left in him at like any point in the fight, and regardless of how he looks, he's just a terrifying person, always carrying that like knockout power.
Yeah, no, and it shows because he turned the tide so quickly in that fight. I thought Kyler Phillips was absolutely smashing him all through round one. And then it just, like, this is honestly a great assessment. Like, it was almost like a switch just flipped in Vicinius Oliveira. He's like, no, I'm not losing this fight. And he just, like, exploded. And once he hurt Kyler Phillips, like, I just don't think Phillips ever really fully recovered from getting hurt there. And I'm shocked he survived the round. Like, I was just impressed that Kyler Phillips survived the round. I do think very highly of Phillips too. So I feel like this was for me, I thought Vinicius, I would say his name wrong, it's Vinicius. I feel like he was almost getting a little exposed at the beginning of this fight. And then he just showed that he can hurt you at any point. So
you're doing great channeling the inner Dave there.
Vicinius. No, he would have said something way more off the bat. He would have given him a whole new last name. No, that fight was super exciting. Prado and I'm going to butcher this guy's name too, Nikolai Veretennikov.
I think you did good there.
Yeah, right. That was an exciting fight too. I would really like to see Francisco. I don't know. I haven't talked to him personally. I've seen him around the gym. Obviously, he's a very nice kid. I would really like to see him go back down to 155. I feel like he's maybe he's an in-betweener. He just doesn't seem quite big enough for 170 to me. And there's a couple times in the fight where he almost got like big brothered. Like there were a couple takedowns where it's like he looked like he was doing the right things to defend. And then he just kind of like, oh, no, I just got outsized a little bit here, you know?
No, I agree with you 100% on that. I'm like, I think that he is a 55er. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people don't know what's available to you being a UFC fighter. I'm like, we have a full team of dietitians that we can work with. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people really neglect to reach out to them, neglect to utilize all the tools we have. And as a fight, like can claim I have been that fighter myself of I have never known what I was doing cutting weight. I've cut weight in the most unhealthiest ways, and it's all 100% bro science. So you hear from like your training partners, your coach, whatever, just some dumb things that when I'm talking to my nutritionist now, she's like, oh, you're killing yourself when you're doing that. Or, there's so many terrible things that we do as fighters because that's what we've heard over the years. That's what I don't know, your coach tells you, or like what is law because of bro science, essentially. But in real life, I'm like, a lot of people don't really know how to cut weight. And it's like, maybe he just needs to take a different approach, maybe talk with a professional and because I don't think he's a 170. I think he needs to just dial some things down and see how he would fit back in at 155.
Yeah, I think he'd do really well. I think he's developed his game a lot more. We saw the grappling. The grappling looked great. early in that fight last weekend, I feel like he did look really good. So and he's so young and he's so talented. So and he's such a nice kid. So I hope the UFC gives him another chance. You know, he's super exciting. Okay, fine. We will address it because 9 people in the comments have asked about this. Because this is always the Dakota Ditcheva show. Somebody else asked in the comments too, or like just a couple minutes ago. Dakota Ditcheva has announced she's re-signed with the PFL. I think the plan was to have her fight the winner of the tournament at the end of the year. However, she's broken her hand. I don't know what that recovery timeline is going to look like. I hope she's still able to do that. I would assume that had to do with why she decided to re-sign with PFL. Your thoughts on that?
I don't know. I guess looking at where the PFL seems to be going or where it's at, I didn't see that as the smartest business move for her. I feel like, especially to solidify herself as a fighter, you need to be in the UFC, especially for females. I'm like, I just think that the competition she's fighting over there isn't the same level what you would find in the UFC. So she just doesn't get that. I don't know. She's never going to really solidify herself and get that respect until she, I feel like, does come to the UFC. And I don't know what the PFL has in store for her. They haven't seemed to be keeping her very active. And I'm like, me personally, I wouldn't be happy with that. But I don't know if they're paying her too. So I'm assuming she's getting a pretty paycheck to re-sign with them for this long.
I would assume so as well. And to be honest, I barely talked to her since her fight. She's doing a movie in Bulgaria. So I don't think I'm going to see her for a while, to be honest. Girl's always jet setting all over the place. So I haven't really got to pick her brain about it yet. I would assume, obviously, hopefully we'll have her on the show soon and she can just tell us all about it. But I would assume, like you said, she's probably getting paid very handsomely to stay with them. And maybe they've promised her X number of fights, or maybe there's a clause in the contract where she can get out if they don't get her a fight within a certain amount of time. That would probably be an intelligent thing to add in there, considering how hard it's been to find her fights in general. She's in Florida. She was in Florida for a day. So she's flying back out ASAP. But yeah, she does live here now. But she, I honestly don't know. I don't know what the plan is. I do think she's got a lot of time. She turns 27 this weekend. So it's not like if she stays with PFL for another season or two, she'll be whopping age of 29. I feel like that's still a good time for her to obviously go over to the UFC, should that be in her plans. So I do think she has lots of time. I definitely am excited to see those matchups for her. So I do hope that happens at some point, but I don't know. I can't speak too much to what her plans are. I haven't even had a chance to talk to her about it, but yeah, we addressed it, guys. We addressed it. It's all good. We talked about Dakota. Obviously, she had a fantastic performance. Broken hand and all. I feel like we see a new facet of her game every time she competes. Like this time we saw like the clinch work just really on display. My face literally hurt watching Samiko just face plant into the cage repeatedly. But you saw that the elbows were beautiful. We always see her range striking. The kicks are always beautiful. The counters are always very well timed and very sharp. I feel like we didn't see her like signature body work so much, other than the knees and the clinch is where I feel like she shined this time around. And yeah, I give Samiko and Abba a whole lot of credit. That girl's tough as nails. They build them different in Hawaii. 100%.
Wait, you see Max Holloway those last 10 seconds? Like nobody's beaten him in those last 10 seconds ever.
I'm gonna clinch. I'm not playing that game.
No, I'm pulling guard in those last 10 seconds. I don't know what you're talking about. Like Max with that body shot, I would be done.
I don't even know. I literally I've had like a 3-message conversation with her since So I don't even know what the diagnosis is yet. I just know she hurt her hand, arm, something. But yeah, no, I agree. They build them different in Hawaii. That's why we need a show in Hawaii. Have they ever done that? When was the last time?
I don't think they ever have had. I can't remember. There was a reasoning behind it, but yeah, I don't think they've ever had it in Hawaii.
State commission issue or just the travel. Be expensive to get everybody to. No, it's not. I guess it would depend how many like Hawaiian fighters they could like fill the card with. You know,
I feel like I don't know how many there are now, but I know that for a couple years there was quite a few in the UFC.
With Brad Tavares, obviously Max. Who else?
Crap. Now I'm
right. I was like, wait, are there a lot of?
Well, Rachel Ostovich was in the UFC. Callan Curran, Maki Patolo, Punahele Soriano. I believe he's Hawaiian too.
Yeah.
So
Ige's Hawaiian, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. So I'm like, I feel like they have a good little stack over there.
Issue. That'd be sick. I want Grant to get on the Hawaii card.
Shit, I'm like, sign me up.
G and I need some sun. I'm getting pasty. You look pretty tan, but I am white. Anywho, okay, guys. We talked about PFL. We talked about UFC 318, kind of. I feel like we missed a few fights, but that's okay. Gillian and I always talk too long every time it's about MMA. You were at Karate Combat just last weekend. How was that?
So Karate Combat had a 2-day event. I went to one of the days. The other day I followed along on Instagram. They had a heavyweight tournament the first day. So I believe it was 8 men in the heavyweight, 8 heavyweight men fighting 3 times in one night.
Wow.
And that was, and just the sound of these men, they are very large and right in front of you. It was absolutely amazing. Just like I said, absolute powerhouses. Robelis Despangane went out there, fought to decision his first fight. So got a full fight out there. His second fight went his typical way of finishing it in like 5 seconds. And then his third fight, he went out there for the first round and was trying to finish it every single minute. And then it got called in between rounds by the doctor against Zach Pauga, who's a UFC vet as well.
I just saw this picture of Robelis at the end of the night in the hospital, and he's got casts on both his arms and his leg. And I'm like, what did I miss?
Oh yeah, 3 times in one night. So each fight was 2 3-minute rounds. How to think about the right way to say that. So
you say like you can only fight 25 minutes is the max for the state commission, right? Like,
I didn't know that actually, but so yeah, each fight was 2 3-minute rounds, and then if it went to a decision at the end of those, and they felt like they needed a third round, they would do it. So in like Zach Pauga's second fight, he ended up going to a third round, where I'm like, and Robelis' second fight was finished in 10 seconds, so it must have been a little bit different going into that main event.
No, for sure. Yeah, that helps. The quicker you finish in a tournament like that, the better you're going to feel. But did you guys talk about the freestyle chess championship? There's a lot going on this weekend, okay? PFL is about to have their finals. There's a lot going on. We got Abu Dhabi this weekend. I was going to get into that, but honestly, I feel like we've already talked a lot. We talked about PFL. We talked about Karate Combat. I feel like I had something else for you. Oh, yeah, I have one more thing for you. And then I'll let you go because you stayed way longer than you normally would. So we've been debating this. Everybody that's been on here has been debating this. And so far, I think we got 2 different answers from Cam, Bennett, and Pantoja. So after last weekend, we talked about Dustin a ton. What is next for Max Holloway? Do we want to see these rematches? Do we want to see him fight Arman? I feel like everybody's saying that there's not a real number 1 contender, even though it should be Arman, but he's grounded right now by the UFC because they're mad at him. So we don't think that fight's going to happen for a title shot right away. What's your thoughts on this whole top division?
Maybe the Oliveira one? For like a contender fight?
We also Pantoja brought up Gaethje as well.
The Gaethje one's I feel like you can't not want that. I mean, like, come on, that's just an exciting fight. That's a fan favorite fight right there. So, yeah, definitely exciting for the Gaethje one, and I think that would be a contender fight as well. Yeah, I don't want to see Poirier yet. I feel like there still needs time before he faces Poirier again. But yeah, I think a Gaethje or Oliveira would be good.
I would like to see either one of those. I think the fight you make is Arman and Ilya. It's the right thing to do for the division. It's the right thing to do just in general.
And UFC do the right thing.
Do the right thing, guys. I know you're mad at him, but it's the fight I want to see. I want to see Ilya fight a guy that can wrestle like that for 25 minutes. I want to see what happens, you know? And so I'm happy watching Max fight just about anybody in this division. I think you have to be strategic with Max because at 145 he kind of became like a bit of a prospect killer, you know, crushed Calvin Kattar before he could get to the belt, crushed Brian Ortega before he could get to a title shot. Same thing with Arnold Allen. Like I feel like it's a closer fight, obviously, but like I feel like he became a bit of a prospect killer there, and I think you could. If you don't handle him correctly at 155, you could run into the same thing.
And I feel like he's really like falling into 155 a little bit better now. Where I think at first it took a little bit of like an adjustment for him. Where now he's really like coming into his own as a 55er.
Yeah, no, I agree. You could see it the last Dustin fight. Dustin was able to just kind of walk through his punches and do a lot of damage. He looked like a featherweight. And yeah, I don't think that guy's ever making 145 again. Love to hear that. Dana's, we're both trying to click the comments. You go. Dana's announcing some fights on IG later. I'm happy. I want something at lightweight. Just anything lightweight.
Grant Dustin and Gillian Robertson fight announcements is what's coming.
About right now. That's what we want to hear. Insider info. Yeah, we don't have any insider info. I wish.
They don't tell me anything.
I know. Gamrot doesn't have a fight. I don't think Moicano has a fight. Like, none of these lightweights have fights. So I just want to see somebody get matched up in the top 15 at lightweight. That's what I want to see. So
or in strawweight. Strawweight works too. You know?
We want Gillian to have fights too. Sorry, you don't pay my bills, Gillian. So, but I'll let you. We'll wrap up. I'll let you go and have Grant come in here to do Banana Blitz. But
like Bananas Employee of the Month, Grant Dawson.
Dude, just killing it.
Stepping up.
He doesn't even get paid. We just stick him in here. Just use him. He's paying my bills too. Yeah. By the way, Max definitely has to be on the White House card. That has to happen. Absolutely. Do you know your fight before Dana announces them? Yes. Yeah, because you have to. Well, depends. Depends if they actually let you accept the fight first. I've heard that has happened a few times. You heard from a bird that Dawson and BSD are fighting in Paris. I would love to hear that too, but I don't think that bird is correct, or we probably would have heard something too. Apparently, somebody's heard that you're fighting Benoit in Paris. Apparently. Yeah, we have. That's news to us. So, anywho, do you want to stick around for Banana Blitz, or you want to chat?
I gotta get going.
Yeah, real quick before you go. Have you ever considered dyeing your hair a different color? I'm dead serious.
This is natural. What are you talking about?
I'm going somewhere with this.
No, I haven't. No.
So there are poisonous dart frogs that basically God made them super bright colors to warn other creatures that they are dangerous. Do not F with these creatures. And I think you're on the right track. I think
you're exactly.
Dangerous fighters dye their hair like tree frogs. So
no, I saw something that is actually like a warning symbol in the animal kingdom. So that's why like black widows have it. A lot of snakes have it. So right. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Just
you came like black widows, poisonous tree frogs. For us, it's really good fighters and overweight feminists.
On that note,
Jillian's like, and I'm out.
You ain't getting me canceled too.
All right,